What's going on, everybody? Sports Expert here. We do have some breaking news in the NFL. We are going to be making a few videos here, covering some trades that happened. And here we'll cover a couple trades. Why not? So, first one will be between the Houston Texans and the Pittsburgh Steelers, as the Houston Texans are acquiring offensive lineman Kendrick from the Pittsburgh Steelers in exchange for a 2025 sixth-round pick. So the Texans look to get a young offensive lineman here that could potentially help them in the future, and the Steelers get a draft pick for a guy that really didn't work out there. Just very poor play, inconsistent with Green. Had a lot of upside coming out, and had a lot of upside coming into the 2021 season as a starter. So a lot of Steelers fans liked him at the time, but then he just faded away. But a team like the Texans will, look for some depth here, and maybe a guy that can start in the future with some injury, maybe can make a spark. Maybe a change of scenery is needed, but the Steelers get their hands off of him as they get a pick back for him. A lot of Steelers fans are pretty hyped about that, but a third-round pick didn't really work out too well there, and Omar Khan gets a pick. So, yeah, my thoughts on the trade. I actually do really like it for the Texans, although he has struggled a bit. I actually did like him as a prospect coming out. I had an early third on him around there. So he can play center, he can play guard. Maybe you can try to switch him to tackle. I don't know how likely that is, but there's a lot of versatility with him. I'm going to give the Texans a B+ here. I'm going to give the Steelers a B+ as well. Even trade. They get a pick for a guy that really wasn't working out, wasn't going to start anyway. Good stuff by Omar Khan. He did the same with Kevin Dotson. Good stuff. And for the Kansas City Chiefs and the Las Vegas Raiders, we have a trade. Farrell Jr., who was a 4th-round pick last year, defensive tackle out of LSU. I had a 7th-round grade on him, ended up going 4th round. He is being dealt to the Kansas City Chiefs, a team that needs some defensive tackle depth, especially with a guy like Chris Jones, who is still holding out. They are sending over a 2024, I believe, 6th-round pick for Farrell. So a guy that was selected in the 4th round, probably a bit of a reach at the time, but they trade a 6th-rounder. The guy was picked in the 4th. Maybe the Chiefs see upside there. I don't know what I see in it. I mean, Farrell's just another body at this point. I don't hate it for the Raiders. I don't hate it for the Chiefs. I don't love it for either side, though. So, I'm going to give the Raiders a B on this. I'm going to give the Chiefs a B-. Nobody lost the trade. It's just a trade I don't love. It's just whatever. Farrell Jr. is just a guy I wasn't a huge fan of coming out. So, didn't see a lot there, but, some depth don't hurt, and maybe there's some upsides there still. So a couple of young players there. We did have some guys get released, though. Dwayne McBride, the former UAB running back, he was released by the Minnesota Vikings. So that was one. That was interesting. And, yeah, so one thing I've noticed with Kwesi, the GM for the Vikings, he is not afraid to cut his draft picks. After he was hired last year, he cut a couple 3rd-rounders. He's cut a couple 5th and 6th, 7th already this year. He's not afraid to cut his picks if they don't work out after a year or so. He's not afraid. And you got to respect it. You got to respect guys that admit to mistakes and, are like, okay, let's move on. So, not bad from the Vikings, but yeah. So I appreciate everyone being here. Sports Expert here. Please hit the subscribe button to the channel, turn on the post notification bell, like the video, comment what you think. We're going to be coming out with a lot of update videos. Preview and predictions will be happening as well. So I'm out, guys. Sports Expert here. So those guys were traded. Green to Texans, Farrell to Chiefs. Peace.